Hello, beautiful women, and welcome to today's live, where I'm going to teach you one of my absolute favorite movements to strengthen the whole upper body, specifically the shoulders. And not only that, I'm also going to teach you this movement, which will give you an incredible mobility in the thoracic spine. So why do I love this movement so much? Well, I'm a surfer, so I need wickedly strong, injury-proof, mobile shoulders and upper back. But this is perfect for even people that are obviously not surfers. You might be a weightlifter, you might engage in other sports like swimming, or just for everyday life. Every woman should have a basic level of strength in her upper body. And a lot of women don't, okay? We lose strength as we get older. We also don't have as much strength as like men do in the upper body. So it's really crucial that we cultivate our strength. It's also fantastic for preventing conditions like the frozen shoulder. So I have talked about frozen shoulder for quite some time now, and it is a condition that's extremely prevalent in women in midlife. And some of the reasons for getting a frozen shoulder is a lack of strength in the upper body and lack of mobility in the thoracic spine, specifically around the shoulder blades, okay? Frozen shoulder comes actually from the shoulder blades. So that is why cultivating your upper body strength and your upper body mobility is incredibly important, especially in the modern lifestyle where we are spending an inordinate amount of time in front of computers. Our postures are suffering. We're getting those rounded shoulders. We need to be performing exercises that will open the chest, give us a really nice, strong, attractive posture. Not only just for vanity reasons, although it's really nice. No one's going to look confident if they are walking around like this and attractive, but also for the health benefits, okay? So today I'm going to teach you one movement only, and I might start a bit of a series of upper body movements as well, but you can actually, excuse me, I've got a recovering from cold, so if I'm sounding a little bit snuffly, it's because I'm still kind of full of, really congested. So I must start a bit of a series, but what's really beautiful about this movement, you can also combine it with a lower body movement. And that is what we love about the steel mace, that you can combine various movements together, turning an upper body movement into a whole body movement, okay? But let's start. So if you don't have a mace yet, you can also try this movement with just the wooden stick, or as my amazing friend Debbie in Puerto Rico, she actually did some of the movements with a broomstick, just so she can feel what it's like to be exercising with a steel mace without actually having one in the house, okay? So we're going to start in a over grip. So you're going to grip the mace over and over on both sides, okay? And what we're going to practice first are these positions, okay? Here and here, okay? So every time you are in this quite significant rotation, and also a loaded rotation, because I have personally 4 kilo mace. If you are beginning and you have purchased a 4 kilo mace, then you will actually kind of feel it, okay? So you need to be able to stabilize your core to support the rotation. Now, most people will injure their backs when they bend down and rotate, because we are simply not conditioning rotational movements enough in conventional styles of exercise. When you think about traditional weightlifting, it's very much up and down, side to side. You might be doing some Russian twists maybe, but you need to be able to do slightly more sophisticated movements in a rotational way, okay? So what we're going to practice first is that I want you to lock your glutes, lock your core, and then I want you to rotate. And it's okay to slightly rotate the hips with it, yeah? You don't have to rigidly have them standing forward. You can kind of slightly soften the knees and turn towards the mace, okay? So which way you're going? So if we start in a seatbelt position with over grip, yeah, I want you to cast the mace over your shoulder. I want you to try to create 90 degrees with your arms. So you're not going to be over here. Equally, you're not going to be over here. 90. You're going to try to drive the elbows underneath the mace. So it's almost like the mace is sitting on top of your elbows, okay? It's hard work because it's just floating in there, but it's much easier than doing this, okay? So you need to drive the elbows underneath the mace. Yeah? So just try this movement first. So let's just relax again, reset, cast the mace. Halfway point of the mace is above your shoulder. So you're not here, you're not there, halfway, okay? So everything is kind of angled quite well, kind of 90 angles, all right? So practice on both sides too. Might be easier on one side, might be a little bit more difficult on the other, yeah? So movement number 1, and it's totally okay just to stay here for a little while, all right? You don't have to take it further, but I'm going to run you through it and you see how you go. So cast over the shoulder, come back. Yeah, we're going to just stay here for a little while, condition this movement, see how it feels. Yeah, it's heavy. It's really heavy, even with a 4-kilo mace. And I'm probably not quite firing at all cylinders post this kind of quite yucky cold. But it's heavy, okay? So just try again, just a few. You don't have to do a lot of repetitions. Yeah, just try like 3 to 5 on each side and see how you go. Do not let go of the core and the glutes, okay? Compress the shoulders down too. You don't want to be hiking the shoulders up with the mace. You want to be compressing the lats down, okay? So that's the preparatory kind of movement. That's the movement number 1, all right? If this is going well for you, then from this position, you are going to transition through a undercut onto the other side. Same position. Now, obviously, the mace is at the front, but I am still in that 90, halfway point of the mace is above my shoulder. I'm driving the elbows underneath it, okay? I'm really squeezing my glutes, squeezing my core, compressing the shoulders down, okay? And then you just reverse it back into seatbelt. So let's break it down. Let's go a little bit slower, okay? So over grip, seatbelt position, compress, lock the core. Cast the mace over your shoulder. Undercut, transition to the other side, and then come back through the same pathway, okay? So you can see that this is incredible for the thoracic spine because essentially you're doing this, yeah? So it's a quiet, complex, beautiful movement that I often use with the light mace as a mobility movement. So if you happen to be quite tight, maybe you're sitting in front of a computer for a long time, you wake up and you've got like that tension and stiffness between the shoulder blades, then this is a fabulous movement. Also is a strength movement. It's strengthening your core in a rotational in the rotational movement. And then obviously your arms are going to get nice and strong because you are basically holding a steel mace in the air, okay? So let's try the other side. So prep for it, okay? And go nice and slow at the beginning. Don't rush this, okay? Chances are that you have never done a movement like this before, okay? So rotation one way and then rotation the other way, all right? So let's cast Check that your form is good. 90-90 angle on the arms. Halfway point of the mace is above my shoulder. I'm trying to drive the elbows under, compressing the shoulders down. I'm going to undercut it, turn my hips with it a little bit, come to the same position on the other side. Now, obviously, the mace ball is at the front. And then I'm going to reverse it. Okay, so go super, super slow. I'm going to show you from this side. Yeah, I'm going to cast over my shoulder first. I'm going to undercut it, come to the other side, still stabilizing my core, okay? And then I'm going to reverse the movement, okay? So if you have any questions about this, just put them in your chat box, okay? So this is called a rotational swing, all right? And this is basically the kind of the fundamental movement. As you can see, there is a lot going on, a lot. It's difficult. It's quite challenging for the body, even for people that are quite strong. So go really slow with it. Make sure that you are building the foundation. So maybe at the beginning, you're just going to practice this. Yeah? You're just going to go into this. See how that feels to have a mace floating above your upper body, and make sure that you're conditioning the 90-90 angles, okay? When that gets good, see if you can transition fully and do the full rotational swing, okay? If this is going well for you, and hopefully you will use this video not just once, but going forward as well, you can add a little press in the final position, okay? I'm going to run you through it. Now, see how you go with it. Try it out if you want. But I would really like you to build the rotational swing really, really well before you start adding some fancy presses into it, okay? So I'm going to run you through it. So the rotational swing is the same. When you arrive on the other side, you press the mace up, okay? Now, the most important thing when you're doing the press is that this arm doesn't dip. It's not like a lever press. It is a counter press, okay? So you are stabilizing. You are in this position, 90-90. The back hand, the back arm doesn't move. You have to lock everything up and you go into a press, okay? Get it? So let's break it down again. So rotational swing, stabilize, press. And at the beginning, your press might be very, very little, okay? Don't upset your form trying to go into a full extension of the arm, okay? So at the beginning, and that's where I started as well, you might just go here rather than go fully into the extension, okay? It is pretty full on to be pressing while you just kind of holding the mace above your body and you are in rotation as well, okay? It's much easier to be doing counter presses here, which we've done counter presses here, okay? To do them here, it's a whole new level of challenge and difficulty, okay? So see how you go. Again, try it on both sides. Be very careful. The potential to send a lot of tension in the lower back is huge here, okay? So make sure that under no circumstances you are letting go of the core engagement, yeah? Don't be tempted, and it is quite tempting to disengage and then have that arch in the lower back. You need to be so solid to be able to support the press as well, okay? So that's something that you can eventually add onto it. Now, don't try to run before you know how to walk, okay? So break down the rotational swing, work at it, and then see how you go and maybe start the press with just a little bit before going into the full extension, okay? What you can also do then eventually is to add a lunge to it, yeah? So you are lunging with the opposite side. So you are essentially going to land your mace ball on top of your knee, okay? So that is the full movement where you can actually add a lunge to it too. So you can see it's a whole new level of challenge, because not only you are in rotation, you're floating a mace above your shoulders, you are doing the press, but also your stability is compromised by being in a lunge, okay? So that is essentially, I taught you one movement with two different variations, okay? So you can see how fabulous the mace training is, how you can start at some quite basic movement, which was the original just cast over the shoulder, which is challenging enough, okay? There's no weightlifting I have ever done in all my years of going to the gym where I would be casting something over my shoulder and holding it up high, let alone transitioning to the other side, let alone adding a press, let alone adding a lunge to that too. So it's incredibly complex, but you can see just how one movement can pretty much condition so many. So you are basically performing 3 human movement patterns. You're lunging, you're pressing, and you're rotating. All of that, all packaged into one movement, okay? That is why the steel mace, in my eyes, is the most superior tool you can possibly work with, because it gets the work done quickly, and it really taps into the full potential of human body, okay? Our human bodies have been designed to move in some incredibly complex and sophisticated ways. And I feel like traditional forms of training just don't do it justice. But with the mace, you can explore so much. And you'll notice that once you start performing this rotational swing with the counter press, with the lunge, you will know very quickly whether you have some limitations in these movement patterns, okay? So have a crack at this. Now you know that the doors to the Warrior Woman program are still open. I'm just doing another launch for this, because the women that are inside are getting some phenomenal results, and they are absolutely loving their mace training. Mace training only has to take 10 to 20 minutes a day. So it's incredibly time-saving, potent form of exercise that is super fun, but it is challenging. As you could see today, that is not easy, okay? Those are movements that are going to challenge your body, especially if you've been doing more of a traditional exercises and traditional fitness style. So if you want to learn more about how you can work with the steel mace, how you can learn how to do mace flows, which we've done here before, but also how to do safely challenging interval training, which only takes 20 minutes, where you would be practicing some of these movements, then jump on the link I'll put in the live, or get in touch if you have any more questions. I would love to have you in the Warrior Woman program. It is literally the program that I'm the most proud of. It will make you into a strong, incredible woman who is powerful, invincible, and totally badass. So I'll see you next week for some more training. Let me know, even if you're watching on replay, let me know, or if you're watching on YouTube, let me know how you found this. Let me know how you enjoyed this movement, and join me for more incredible mace training in the future. Lots of love to you all. Bye.